What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Cornelia, back with another episode of Black News, a podcast where we break down current events, hot topics, and local stories involving Black people. Now let's get into it. So apparently I was so focused on Sinners that I completely missed the Shannon Sharp news. Okay. Side note, Sinners has done fantastic at the box office 2 weeks in a row. There was only like a 6% drop in weekend 2 ticket sales, which is crazy and outstanding. Okay. I was so focused on that and having conversations about Sinners and all of the nuances and Easter eggs within the film. I completely blocked out the fact that Shannon Sharp has been in the news. And low key, I didn't want to, and I haven't. I'm a full disclosure. I haven't read all or a lot of the articles and such about it because one of the main points of the story has me so really disgusted and like kind of bothered that I didn't even want to get myself even more upset about it. But what we do know, Shannon Sharp has been sued for $50 million. There are other lawsuits that have come out against him after the fact. I believe I read today that there were maybe 2 or 3 in total. $50 million lawsuit. One of the rumors also, I'm not sure if this is true because again, I haven't read too much to make sure this is factual, that he initially offered that first victim who was being represented by Tony Busby. Y'all know Tony Busby now. He offered $10 million to the person filing a lawsuit. The person said, no, we going to court. And now it is a lawsuit for $50 million to the point Shannon Sharp done took a leave from ESPN. He's still doing his podcasts with Chad Ochocinco, Nightcap. But baby, Shannon is getting beat over the head every which way. And again, I have briefly heard some of the audio. There was one that went around saying that he was going to choke the you-know-what out of a young woman. There are reports saying that one of the girls is an OnlyFans model. I did see the parts about him engaging in like race play, which is essentially when you are with and dating someone in a sexual relationship with someone. Or I don't know if it could be consider race play if it's a non-sexual situation. The only times I've heard of it when that is the case though, where she was saying stuff like, I want you to put your big black baby seed in me. Like I'm talking, and I'm so sorry to have said that out loud because it's just ridiculous. But it's a lot going on. But one of the main things, as I mentioned, that bothered me and stuck out to me is Shannon Sharp is 56 years old, and the woman that is accusing him, one of the women at the time when she was saying she was in this situation, a relationship with Shannon Sharp, she was 19 years old. Now, that is not the only thing that bothered me because abuse of any kind, allegedly, because I don't know what's true or not. We're going allegedly, hey, I ain't about to get me, okay? Abuse is something that I just don't fool with. If you be out here abusing women, girls, men, and boys, I'm done with you. I can't fool with you. I don't do that. But I think we need to have a conversation around age differences and what is too young for some people. Now, before I really get into it, I want to also say that simultaneously before right when this started to drop, reports of this started to drop, people were comparing Shannon Sharp to Tracy Ellis Ross, who was on Michelle Obama and her brother Craig's podcast, IMO podcast. In my opinion, she was talking about her dating experiences and saying how she dates younger men now because men in her age demographic seem to be a little more misogynistic. They be homophobic. It's just too much that she don't want to deal with it because those men seem to be stuck in a way of thinking that this is not conducive to her the way her life is, which I understand because having dated men my age, and I'm not as old as Tracy Ellis Ross, she is around the same age as Shannon Sharp. But dating men in their 40s, from what I have experienced, and I'm not saying all men, and I know this is just a very small sample size, okay? This is a very small sample. I'm just giving you my opinion based on what I've experienced. Them men be homophobic, okay? They be sexist. They be saying some crazy stuff. And it's just not a men from a certain region. Baby, this north, south, east, and west. And this ain't all men, okay? This is not all men. But when she said that, I was like, I can relate. I've experienced it firsthand. Now, having been around, because I work in a male dominated industry, comedy is very male dominated. So I have interacted over the years with men of many different ages. I also have friends who are younger than me. And when I say younger, I ain't talking about 19. I mean mid to late 30s. Okay. They are a little more open minded and they do have a different way of thinking that isn't so conservative and dated, if you will. Now, to each his own, because if that's your way of thinking, whatever, do you. But I understand where she was coming from with that. But she was getting dragged because people were thinking when she said she dates younger men that she meant not the same age as Shannon Sharp date the people he be dating 19, which at no point did she ever say that she be dating 19-year-olds. And considering the fact that Tracy Ellis Ross has been very open and honest about her dating history, she is when people ask her questions, she talks about it. And based on her requirements for romance and partnership, it is highly unlikely that a 19, 20, early 20, mid 20s year old man would be able to fit the criteria that is required for her. Tracy Ellis Ross got money. Yes, she got her own money, but she's Diana Ross's daughter. Her father was a music executive. She papered up. She has her own brand. She has her own businesses. She has her own endeavors. She know who she is. She out here looking fly. She can dress, body banging. She has a requirement that 20 them young punks can't really meet. You ain't got nothing. So when I hear Tracy Ellis Ross, and again, maybe people feel like this is justifying or trying to make an excuse, but having known other older women who say they date young, baby, they not talking about no little Pop Tarts. When they say younger, they mean early to mid 30s at the lowest. Okay. So people were trying to make that comparison, which to me, until Tracy Ellis Ross say that she be dating 19-year-olds or something come out, then I'm going to go with what I know and I'm going to use my critical thinking skills to put the pieces together and then apply it as needed. And hell, I'm in my early 40s and I wouldn't date no your little Pop Tart. So I seriously doubt Tracy Ellis Ross will be out here with some little teeny boppers. I just don't see it. However, in this case, Shannon Sharp is 56 years old, and the woman in question at the time, well, let's say because she was 19, I think she's 20 now. So let's say he was 55 and she was 19. Technically, that's a teenager. And I know you can vote and you can buy cigarettes. Okay, I know you can do that. I know you can go to the military. But child, people back in the day could go to the military when they was like 15. Like, I don't want to, hey, man. Like, 19, 19 is technically a teenager. The brain don't fully develop until you 25. So decision making is questionable at best. I would like to understand or figure out what someone at that age would feel like they have in common with someone 19. Now, I know the answer, and usually it's not about having common interests and having similar hobbies and goals and whatnot. A lot of times, and listen, we just talk in general here. A lot of times it's because it's easier to control or manipulate or influence someone who has a limited worldview or less experience than you do. Sometimes it can also be that creepy ass way of thinking where people, men, they want to interact with young girls and young women who are on that the brink of a kidhood. Because let me say this, and again, I'm not putting no name on it. I'm not saying that this the case in this situation, but I'm talking in general as being a woman who has lived in the world for a long time. It's a thin line between 16 and 19. It's a thin line between 17 and 19. It's a very thin line. So for me, I would question in what part of your mind is there cutoff and makes it different, right? People, when I was 19, my daddy wasn't even 55 years old. Baby Kenny wasn't 55. So I just couldn't imagine myself being in a relationship, a sexual relationship with a man that old. Now, I do understand people do different things for many different reasons. There could be some trauma. There could be the money aspect. Sometimes people would be want to have fun and a good time. People be getting used. They're trying to trick off. Who knows? But again, I would question what people feel like they have in common. And if it's just on some kink stuff, I would, I would, you still out on the streets at age 55 and you on, and this what you doing? Another aspect of the conversation that's been going around are men challenging this situation and questioning why someone his age hasn't settled down and hasn't um, kind of gotten some discipline around himself, which we don't know. We don't know this man, and we don't know his way of thinking, and we don't know what his life is like. I believe Shannon Sharp was married or he was in long-term relationship because he got kids, and the kid's older. Hell, the kid's older than the girl. But a lot of men, or let me flip it. There's that phrase where people say as the men get older, they be looking for a nurse and a purse. Maybe when you trying to date at that age, they be like, man, you be needing a caretaker. You talking about it ain't about a companionship. Sometimes it's about who gonna wipe my ass when I get older. I don't know if if that's the situation with this, but I gotta tell you, it's creepier than a mug from where I'm standing. And maybe it is because I have spent time in the world and have been in situations where men have inappropriately approached me, or I have felt violated in some way, or maybe that is it. Maybe that's adding to this little extra stank from my perception. But the consensus that I've seen across the board is, why are you that old and dealing with a girl who is not 19, teen? Okay, I just don't. But let me tell y'all this. Sometimes it ain't even necessarily about the age, because we have seen examples in popular culture where there have been men in their mid to late 20s being caught out there with 14, 13, 15-year-old girls or boys. So it could span the range. It don't have to be super old and super young. Taking advantage of young girls and young boys is wrong. It's trifling, and it need to be checked. I remember when I went to Atlanta the first time with one of my childhood best friends. Her brother was in AAU. So to keep her company, I would come along and we would, go to these different cities. We went to Atlanta one time. I was 11 years old. And when I was 11, I looked 11. And if I told this story, just bear with me. I'm going to tell it again. I wasn't one of them young girls who, when you turn 11, they be like, yo, she looked like she was 17, 18. I did not look mature for my age. Okay. I had the dookie braid ponytail at the top of my head. I didn't even have probably even a sports bra or training bra at the time. I was a little girl. I looked like a girl. I dressed like a little girl. And this was the 90s when we wasn't dressing sexy. The sexy generation didn't hit us. We was baggy clothes, TLCing it up. I was coming out of a store with my friend. Her family was behind, and like leaning up against a car in the parking lot. There were two guys, two men. And one like leaned up off the car, started walking towards me, and he started talking to me. He was like, "Oh my God, you so beautiful. Oh my God, you so beautiful. What's your name? Where you from? Oh my God, I could do a lot for you. I could like change your life and I can like take you out. You want to go on a date? Like just straight trying to mac me down in this parking lot. Again, let me remind y'all, I looked 11. And I was like, I- I'm like young. I'm 11. And he was like, I don't care. And I was like, well, how old are you? And he said, I'm 25. And I was like, ew, like get away from me. And they kind of just scurried away. And I was like, I can't, leave me alone. Because again, how do you handle something like this at age 11? So I just continued to walk on and I just acted like nothing happened. But now looking back, that man was probably trying to traffic me and he was probably trying to turn me out and pimp me out. Okay. Two, if I did not have the wherewithal or been grossed out in that situation, who knows what have happened to me and how I would have been taken advantage of. Now, I'm not saying that's the same as a 19-year-old, but I'm saying it is very easy to fall victim to something or to kind of just figure like, oh, I'm gonna see what this is, and now you in too deep and something bad happening. But it is always on the responsibility as the older person to not try to talk to kids. Now, again, I know 19 is legal. That is a legal age. I know everybody, she was legal. 19, she didn't vote. Whatever. But again, where's the line? And what you need to be doing? What y'all gonna talk about when somebody 19 years old? 106 in Park? Like what they be talking about right now? What the kid shows be hitting on? Like I can't. So I just wanted to bring that up. I know that does not include all of the facts of the cases and the lawsuits or whatnot, but I just wanted to start that conversation about it because it was just sitting on my spirit and I didn't like it. So hit me up and let me know y'all thoughts about it. Okay. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. Another thing that we as Black people sat around and watched, I feel like all weekend, was Shador Sanders being completely taken advantage of by the National Football League. Now, y'all know how I feel about the NFL. Okay, y'all know how I feel about that. Y'all know how I feel about the NFL. And people watch, I watch Super Bowl and I can keep up with what's going on, but we all know, I ain't gonna rehash it. We already know. But we also know that Shador Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, is a quarterback that was preparing his entire life and this past season and over the past few months for the NFL draft this year, as well as his older brother Shiloh, which is Deion Sanders' middle son. Shador has done great work at Jackson State. They had packed up and moved to Colorado. Shador and them turned the team around. They did pretty good. Now, I don't be in deep into the stats, but I know Shador good enough. He good enough. I know that. But I also know and recognize that Shador Sanders is not the typical quarterback mold that you would think of people trying and attempting to get into the NFL. Meaning that boy got his own money, his daddy got money, and he know who he is. Chain blinged out. Shador got more bling on than people in the league. He doesn't want for anything. He doesn't need anything. If you really want to talk about it, his NILs alone got that boy papered up. And he was raised by parents who um, taught him to be confident in himself by in his abilities. And prime time is his daddy. You're not raised by a man like Deion Sanders, and you don't have confidence and a level of bravado that is required to be in that family and to hold your own. Well, apparently, it seemed like that could have been one of the reasons why Shador fell to the fifth round of the NFL draft. And instead of going first round on Thursday, he went 144th on Saturday. Absolutely insane. Now, people were saying there are many reasons why, and I was just watching all the commentary because, again, I'm not deep into the stats. I wasn't following the combine like that, and I know he didn't go like and run and jump and do all of the stuff. But I do know it was shocking for a lot of people that he went so far into the draft and not early. Now, some people were saying they were trying to punish him, right? They were trying to punish him for being cocky. There were anonymous sources saying that he didn't do good in the interview and he was arrogant and he was all of these things. There were some people who were saying it was because he's not good. Right? They were saying his stats ain't good. He can't throw that good. He ain't, he ain't worth all the hype. He lucky if he get drafted at all. He shouldn't get drafted. He should go free agent, all this other stuff, free agent, whatever. Some people were saying it's because he's a black quarterback. Y'all know how it is in NFL. It's a little better, slightly better. There's a couple more black quarterbacks, but historically in the NFL, black quarterbacks have been treated like or overlooked because that position is we know the history. I ain't even gonna go down. I ain't got time. Which I believe there was the number one person who got drafted was a black quarterback. Like there were some people high up who got drafted as quarterback who were black. So whether that's the case or not, who knows? Some people were saying they were trying to punish Dion because Dion has said a few times in the press over the last year or two that if his sons get drafted somewhere that they don't like, then they ain't going. We not going. If we don't like it, we ain't going. We ain't going to situation. So people were saying they were trying to humble Dion and not even necessarily Shador. But regardless of what the reason was, it seemed like they were purposely having this be a humiliation ritual. Let's put this young black man in his place and try to humble him before he get in the NFL. Now, from where I'm standing, I would think picking Shador Sanders is ideal for your franchise, is for ideal for ticket sales, jersey sales, the NFL as a whole. Maybe I'm missing something. But if you got one of the most talked about quarterbacks coming out of college on your team, whether he play or not, everybody's now going to be watching to see if he stay getting benched, if he earn his spot, what's going to happen if he can win games. So again, I'm not understanding. It got so bad. Y'all's president, Red Hat, done tweeted on True Social talking about he's shocked that Shador didn't get drafted. Which didn't see that coming, and still, hey, I still don't fool with him. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you tweet. I don't care. I'm not, hey, you know how I feel about, I don't like you. Okay. I don't like you. But it was just a complete mess. Another thing that happened, there was a prank draft call that was put out to Shador. And come to find out, it was the son of one of the coaches for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, Shador said there was a phone that he had that was only the number was only given to people that was draft related, GMs, teams. That was it. It wasn't no phone number that he was just out here giving out or using. So when the prank call came, people knew, like, oh, this one is the team's playing. They found out somebody's son and screenshotted his number and recorded themselves and posted themselves prank calling Shador. The Falcons done had to put out a statement. They done put out a statement. Personally, I think the daddy should be held accountable. He should be put on leave. The son need to be banned. I don't care. Somebody need to be held accountable because what we not going to do is continue to add to this humiliation ritual that is being put onto Shador. Another crazy thing that happened, which is not shocking, as soon as he got drafted, endorsement deals started coming out. Child, I seen a commercial for Delta Airlines. The viewership for the additional nights of the NL draft was at like an all-time high. Because whatever y'all will say, what y'all want to say, and say people gonna say and do whatever they want to do and feel how they want to feel. But everybody was watching this NFL draft because Shador Sanders was in it, and he happens to be Deion Sanders' son. So, like him or not, whether he can play football in your opinion or not, Whether he is arrogant in your opinion or not, whether you think he should be humbled or not, that young man is bringing in viewership. So, what should we do and what would I do if I were Shador? First, I don't know what I would do if I was Shador because I ain't never played football. Okay. I ain't never played. But I would say that I would officially make it my career mission to punish everybody in the league. And by punish, I mean go out every game and bust their ass. Like that's all you can do. He gotta show, oh, you know what? He gonna be the new Tom Brady. Like at this point, Shador has to become his daddy 2.0. Now, why I'm saying this because Deion Sanders is one of the best football players ever lived. Okay, two-sport athlete. He was in the Major League and NFL at the same time. Hey, now I know that might be reaching, but if Adonis Creed can come back and win the heavyweight championship of the world after his father Apollo won it in the 1980s, hey, anything is possible. I know that wasn't real, but hey, we still gonna do the comparison. Okay, if Adonis can do it, so can Shadur. We as supporters also need to buy and support Shador through his brand and his site. Cause he going to what, the Browns? Maybe nobody want to support the Browns. Like, oh, I'm not buying no Browns jerseys. You know, hey, I gotta draw the line somewhere. I got to draw the line somewhere. I will say if they come out with some new Deons and the new Deons, the Shador version looking good, I might buy me some Deons. Who knows? But we should do whatever we can to support that young man because it is clear that there is an effort to discredit him and to shrink him and humble him. And again, I'm just not too deep into it to know what that's about, but it was very clear and it was a clear message to all of us what they were trying to do. So, what do you think about all of that? Do you have another take? Do y'all be watching football and have another take that I missed? If so, hit me up. Let me know your thoughts. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. One question that I asked on Threads this past week is if we are currently entering the Black Renaissance of our generation. And I asked that because it seems like we are in a time, and this always happens. And it may be due to the political climate and everything that's happening with the erasure of history and banning books and all of these things, the things politically that we are experiencing and about to experience on a very deep and intense level. But the art that is coming out seems to be impacting and connecting with us and moving us, making us excited in ways that isn't always consistent. Because again, not to say that there has been a complete lack of black art, but sometimes everything don't gotta be deep. Everybody don't gotta be, every piece doesn't have to be moving. Every movie don't have to be over the top. Every song doesn't have to give you this other world experience or have some deeper meaning or intention. But there are substantial pieces of art that is moving black people in a way that seems very rooted and very I don't know the word for it. It just seems very important. And I'm not sure if, because while I have researched and read about the Harlem Renaissance, one thing that I'm not clear on is if the people within the Harlem Renaissance were actively calling it and knew it was the Harlem Renaissance. I don't know that part. If y'all know that part, let me know. Did they actively in that moment know this is a Harlem Renaissance, baby? We in it. Because with things right now, like Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance and the intentionality and the conversation that it sparked, and him doing it on that stage at that moment in time when he could have did anything else. You had Cowboy Carter, Beyonce, literally, and Renaissance making an effort to publicly reclaim Black music in our genres, country and dance, electronic. Sinners just came out. And I'm telling you, the conversations around this movie and the threads when it discusses um, capitalism, passing, Christianities, African spiritual practices, all of these things. You have, I will even throw Ava DuVernay's Origin in here because a lot of people did not see Origin, but Origin was one of the most moving pieces of art that I have ever seen. It was based off the book Cass by Isabel Wilkerson, who also wrote one of my favorite books and one of the most important books I feel like in the American literature, which was The Warmth of Other Suns. But I would wonder if those things, and I know I'm missing some other stuff, if this is pushing us into our Renaissance period where work is more intentional and work has to be more intentional. Yes, we can have fluff pieces. Yes, we can have moments you could just throw off. And yes, everything don't gotta be extra deep. We know this. But we gonna need this art now more than ever. We're gonna need it. We gonna need it. And it is the duty of the artist. And I say artist very loosely. Artist can be a dancer, writer, painter, sculptor, singer, musician. It could be a poet. It could be someone who is a mentor. It could be someone who is delivering and reading the news. It could be anyone. But our art and our work is going to be more important than ever. So I'm wondering if y'all feel this way too, that we are in a new Renaissance era. I feel it. I feel like something happening. I feel it. I feel something happening and I like it. I like it. And I love it and I like it because it gets me inspired again. There are many moments, I'll tell you, most of my days, I'm not creatively inspired anymore. There are times in my life where I'm like, man, I got to get right and I got to get on stage. I got to do this. I got to do this. I have not been inspired, but I have been inspired over this last, even couple of this last year, couple months, heavy. And even coming off, maybe that's Sinners. But I saw Sinners 3 times. It got crack in it. Okay, I'm inspired. So I'm just wondering if y'all feel it too. If y'all feel the same way. Let me know though. If you feel that way, let me know your thoughts about it. Or if there are other pieces of art or moments that are happening right now that you feel like could be added to the list of Black Renaissance moments. Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. On this week's episode of Black News, we talked about the situation arising around Shannon Sharpe and what ages are too old and young to be dating or interacting with each other. We also discussed Shedeur Sanders and how the NFL essentially played in his face, and he was drafted 145th this past weekend. And we discussed if we are currently within or entering a new Black Renaissance. Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts about all of these topics, some or none, and I'll check back with you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode of Black News, y'all. Thanks again for supporting the podcast by sharing, liking, subscribing, and rating 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. To find more information about me, you can check me out at Cornelia on social media, as well as on my website, which is cornelia.com. And as always, thanks for supporting, and I'll be back next week with new topics and a new episode.